Hello everybody, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Roll-Up here at TMOF Wrestling. This is the podcast, and today we are going to talk about one thing very particular, because it's one thing that's been hot topic this week.
What's the hot topic got to do with wrestling?
The World Heavyweight Championship is what we're going to discuss. I've lost my train of thought. To discuss today, I'm going to have a beer, okay? And that was a quick sip. But yeah, we're going to talk about the World Heavyweight Championship because it's been such a big thing this week.
Yeah, and considering the week of Punk, talking backstage at WWE, and Roderick Strong debuting in AEW, and lawsuits considering for WWE.
Lots of lawsuits. There's the Raka Khan lawsuit,
yeah,
where she's suing everybody in the world. But the World Heavyweight Championship, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about our theories on it, our thoughts on it, and whether we like it or not, I suppose. It's probably a big start.
Well, at first I liked it, but then looking at it again, I go, I still like it, but it looks a bit too small to be considered the World Heavyweight title.
Well, let's get into it. Everybody, welcome once again to the Pro Wrestling Roll-Up. If you're a new listener or watcher, welcome aboard. We hope you can enjoy the show. And if you're a returning listener or watcher, then thank you very much for your continued support. It really does mean the world to us. So, I am Russ.
I am Ash.
Let's get down to it. World Heavyweight Championship, big lineage. We've not seen the World Heavyweight Championship for 10 years.
2013, December 2013 was the last time it was on TV.
Okay, so 9 and a bit years.
Yeah, last champion Randy Orton. Technically.
Crazy. Was it Orton or was it
Cena? Well, Cena had it, then it was that Invocation.
Oh, so
technically Orton. I don't know if that counts or not.
Well, it's been a long time, that World Heavyweight Championship, and I suppose we'll start with just the initial thoughts of it then. Obviously, there's a lot of coverage at the moment, and I think we're going to try and keep this mainly positive, aren't we?
Good luck with that.
I think we're going to try and keep this mainly positive, just because I feel like we're venturing back into that kind of realm again where it's very anti-WWE in the social media circle, you know, especially with the influencers and things, and it's getting very anti-WWE heavy again, and I think that is large. Well, I say large in part, it's directly because of the Vince McMahon return.
That is true.
There's no, since he's come back into it, but we can't shy away from what, the good stuff that's going on. This is particularly going to be WWE heavy, of course, obviously, because we're not, we're focused on the world title. But I don't know, look, I think the positive sides of it, we'll see what there is. But the belt design itself, I will start by saying, not a massive fan of it, if I'm honest.
To me, it looks like the World Heavyweight title from before, but it's got the WWE logo, like it's an alien chest burster coming through.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why they've done the alien chest burst, the reason why they've done the WWE logo on the front, because that's nothing new now, is it? I mean, that's the thing now.
IC title's the same.
Yeah. But you know why they do it, don't you?
Why?
Because with the WWE logo on the front, because when they go to the baseball or NFL and things like that, when they're posing with that belt, it's clear as day WWE on it, as opposed to, as much as we love the traditional big gold belt, which again is the one that this sort of kind of is taken from, as much as we love it, you couldn't necessarily in this day and age look at that and go, oh, that's WWE, right? It's just it looks like it's probably a wrestling belt.
Yeah.
But, aside from that, there's not really much else.
Because to compare it with AEW, it's got the logo, and UFC has the logo. Ring of Honor has the logo on the front for their titles.
So I don't think that the problem is not having the logo big in the middle on the front.
No, it's not.
It's just the overall belt. I mean, the AEW belt, and again, it's not to kind of overly compare it to others, although maybe we need to for this particular belt. But the AEW belt is one of the nicest looking belts out there. Easily, the AEW World title.
I'd say so.
But for other belts, things like New Japan and things like that, it's different anyway, because it's not the New Japan Pro Wrestling Championship. It's the IWGP.
Yeah,
they're called different things anyway. So
which I kind of like.
Yeah, and same for Noah. You've got the GHC as opposed to, it's not the Noah Heavyweight Championship. But I think this particular belt, like you said, it looks like the kind of old big gold belt, kind of, but it's not as big.
No,
it does look a lot like the new IC title,
the medium gold belt.
The medium gold belt. I think having a new championship, though, I mean, you kind of have to, I suppose. Like, they've got the brand split coming up.
Yeah, that's probably why they're doing it. Even though the draft is, it's not tonight, is it?
I don't know. Well, today is Friday the 28th.
It's either tonight or the next week, and the title gets the first champion is crowned on 27th of May.
So the champion's going to be crowned at Clash of Champions in Saudi Arabia.
Which was going to be King of the Ring or Queen or whatever it was going to be.
Which was ultimately dropped in favour for this.
For this, yeah.
Kings and Queens. Okay. I don't know. It feels a bit strange that it's come out all of a sudden. It is very quick.
Well,
in terms of, I say very quick. Quick's not the right word. It's just that because we're so close to this 1,000-day reign for Roman Reigns, and I suppose like a lot of the chatter online is more like, well, why didn't we just wait until after? Or why didn't... Because I think what most of us probably thought was going to happen, most of us that is, I mean there's others that could have called this, a mile away, but speaking for myself, I kind of was in that pocket of people that was like, okay, well, when Roman finally gets dethroned, both of the belts go over, and then you just, I suppose one of them loses one of them, or it just goes back to, I don't know.
Well, I read before we did this, apparently this title was meant to be revealed and set up for a tournament for Mania.
What, this World Championship?
This World Championship was going to happen. It was set. It was
for Mania just gone.
Yeah, with Drew, I think it said Drew versus Seth in the finals.
Oh,
I didn't see who would have won, but I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I like what they did with Drew and being in the triple threat for the IC title, and Seth and Logan Paul was pretty good.
That was really entertaining. I think regardless of maybe how Drew's feeling at the moment, with everything, because obviously that's a whole other story, in terms of him being reportedly, allegedly, potentially unhappy.
Even though he's got a year left in his contract, but we've gone through this a lot with wrestlers in the WWE.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think that I am in agreement with the sort of the mass voice in terms of it kind of feels like it does. I don't think it ruins Roman's big reign, but it's like he's been the end boss for 3 years now. Pretty much. Having the world, and he is the world champion, he's the world universal undisputed, as Daniel Bryan said on Talking Smack, wasn't it? Galactic, intergalactic, outer space, super duper champion. He's the end game. He's the big boss. He's the big baddie. And when he finally is beaten by whoever it's going to be, still feels like probably Cody Rhodes is the top candidate. But I'm sure we're going to talk more about Cody.
Probably.
But I see it from that perspective in terms of bringing another one in is kind of like saying, it's because of Triple H's promo that he did as well. Like, as much as I enjoyed it, it's still kind of when you are that sort of fan, and you need to try to not be to enjoy it more. But when you are the sort of fan that kind of does look for a bit of logic in it. So, when he turns around and he says, well, Roman's negotiated himself into a contract that states he doesn't have to defend the title as much because he's not going to be there as much.
Yeah.
And so WWE, we need to do something about it. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, you could have done. You could have just not let him have that contract. That's like that logical answer to it, right? So
it is.
But it's just, I suppose that the biggest issues people have taken up with it is that potentially devalues Roman's reign, and also that it's a third world championship.
Technically it is.
Which actually technically means that there's 4 world championships in WWE, if you include the NXT title.
I kind of view that like I kind of view Ring of Honor, where it's kind of like a mid-tier title.
But But it's top tier for that brand.
It's top tier for that brand, but it's not. I wouldn't consider it personally. Even though, because what?
For main roster, at least, though, we're looking at 3.
For main roster,
we're
it's
looking
3.
at 3.
Technically 3, even though technically it's 2, but you combine 2 to 1. It's a weird way of going by it.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with this one? Because I'll put my prediction out there now. It's a wild card prediction. It probably isn't going to happen. But how insane would it be if Roman won it anyway?
That is the internet thing of, well, he'll win it at Mania. There's an invocation match.
No, but what if he wins it in Saudi Arabia? I wouldn't be mad with it, I'll be honest. I've
got like 3 people I think should win it.
Let's go through your predictions then. Well, who do you think is going to win?
I got Solo.
Solo's a wild card pick. He's a dark horse pick. Is it a bit soon for Solo though?
They like Solo.
Yeah, but is it too soon for Solo? Especially after we've had the Cody Rhodes promos just before Mania. You're not ready. You're not ready.
Which makes you think he's gonna do it. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't lose Solo Cody next instead of Brock, but we'll go there. I don't think Cody's gonna win it. I reckon he'll be in the final and lose it to someone. Another idea would be Seth, but
Seth's like probably the internet favourite at the moment to win, isn't it? Like in terms of not necessarily the odds-on favourite, but the person would probably want to see with it. The thing with Cody, I think Cody technically might be the odds-on favourite, but he's the guy. Like if he wins it, like it couldn't. Like in all honesty, that will reek of consolation prize. And I think again, like that's already kind of like it feels like the belt might kind of be like that at the moment.
Depending on when they start this tournament, it might depend on if Cody gets distracted by Brock. I honestly don't know when this tournament starts, but if it's after Backlash,
I feel like if Cody was going to be cost the tournament, then that would be by Solo. And then maybe go into that. I don't know. It depends how closely you want to keep or when you bring Cody back. And we're saying when because, again, like we've got to hold out that hope that Cody's going to come back into it. Because, again, at the moment, Cody's the guy to beat Roman. The one thing I would like to see from this final for the new World Heavyweight Championship, and they kind of did tease this on Raw, but with between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, only because it's like a nice kind of neat little callback to the Universal Championship, where it was those two battling it out.
Yes, SummerSlam 2016.
Yeah. And, it would be cool to see.
It'd be nice for Judgment Day.
If there's a Judgment Day by then.
Yeah, because it seems like they are going on the outs. I've read somewhere people had the idea that Logan Paul became the first one. Imagine that. I think a lot of people would start watching if that happened. I kind of want to see it for the shock value. That's kind of that's probably me being...
It depends if it's got any value long term. I think that's the big thing, isn't it? Right? Like if it's got value long term. So
another thing is it just feels like no one's been built really to be like a challenger.
Well, no, before. No, it isn't. That's why it kind of feels a little bit out of left field, just because, like I said, Roman's been the big boss for ages. So you're only realistically building one challenger up at a time for Roman. Whereas now you kind of need to... I will say, I think credibility-wise, the roster is probably, by and large, the most credible it's been in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Within the last sort of 12 months, just under the Triple H creative process, I think there's definitely a lot more credibility in more of the... we've gone from an age where it's kind of, there's only really 1, 2, maybe 3 sort of top stars in a company to where there are genuinely now, like, you could go different ways.
And
but
plus,
it's just that Roman's a different kettle of fish because that reign... And I know it's annoying from Mania, but if you're near 1,000 days, you're going to do 1,000 days.
You like to think.
Because when are you going to do it again?
It's rare. Even like the NWA title, even though it's not as big as it used to be, I don't think that's ever got anywhere near 1,000 days reached in the last 10 years.
No. So I don't know. I see that point of view. I think going for 1,000 days, you kind of have to when you're this close to it.
Yeah, I think it does. Oh, another thing that could help this tournament is the draft. It depends where certain people go and where Roman ends up. I think Roman can be on both shows anyway because he's undisputed champion.
No, that's why they've said that they're bringing in the world title. That was the point of it. So that whatever he literally states in the promo that whichever show Roman is drafted to, he'll stay there, and the world title will go to the one that he's not on.
I'd rather Roman stays on SmackDown and have Raw have their own title.
I
personally
would imagine. I think Fox is the biggest pool of money being thrown in, right?
Yeah, so, and it's the better viewing figures.
Yeah, Roman probably stays on SmackDown
because you got to think of people who are either injured or being taken off TV in the last while, like Bray,
Orton, AJ Styles. Obviously, we've just had the return of Matt Riddle. I mean, yeah, the draft is one thing, and it's the same as anything. It was like the Universal Championship in its own right. When it first came in, hated the design, hated the name. I've grown to accept it because you kind of have to.
Kind of.
I still don't really like it. I still don't really overly like the design of the belt.
Not really.
And I don't, and the name, the Universal, I don't know. Maybe they changed that when Roman gets beaten too.
Maybe because we grew up in an era where it was the Attitude Era titles. And how classy those were, and big old belt really.
Yeah, well, the designs are one side of it, but I just mean like in terms of even just the name, it's because it's when that Universal title got unveiled and it was like that red strap and it was like nothing compared to when the 24/7 title got unveiled because that was really bad.
It was, and that didn't last long either.
I also think the Universal title looks better with a blue strap. I think that does look better.
That did help it, I think. But not the people who won it at that time, like Goldberg.
Yeah, but Roman is a great champion. I don't think this necessarily devalues him. But if they're really, really strict with this draft, and history's shown us they've not been strict with it.
Wildcard rule and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, but if they are strict with it, then you could genuinely... If they went back to when they first did the draft and it was a genuine competition between the two brands...
Well, if they want to do that brand split pay-per-view thing where it's like Raw gets one, SmackDown gets one... And...
I don't know if I want to go back to that.
No,
because I like having...
Because it's fun it was fun for like Rumble and Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. When it was like the brand split, you would get... Especially Mania, where you get like a Raw versus SmackDown match, like Batista Umaga at Mania 24. Or
yeah, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of going back to brand specific.
Actually, I can't believe that's the one match I picked when they did the Raw versus SmackDown matches. Like, when you had Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels at Mania 21. No, I went for Batista Umaga 24, which was a decent match.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see him go back to that because when you have both of them on the same PLE, it's kind of less filler. Also, and you don't need to worry about putting filler in. And also,
Money in the Bank.
Well, there's Money in the Bank, but then I was going to say WrestleMania because now WrestleMania is 2 days. What I wouldn't want to see is one day is SmackDown, one day is Raw. I don't think I'd want to see that personally. Well, because if one of them genuinely is quite bad at the time, like that's not going to.
But you say that you have Takeover as well, or whatever it's called.
Takeover.
Yeah, an NXT show.
Oh, right, okay.
A Raw show and a SmackDown show.
Yeah, I don't know. But the world title, in terms of, I suppose technically there being there's three physical championship belts, but two recognised titles.
And we went through this also when ECW was a thing. Really?
Yes, yeah, kind of.
But then again, I said ECW was basically like, even though it was a champion, like a big title, it was not like it felt like a mid-carder type, like what European title would be.
The European title.
Yeah.
What do you think about 3 belts?
It can be too much.
I think that's what a lot of people are annoyed with as well. I don't think I'm annoyed with it. The thing is,
It's like, why couldn't the Undisputed title be one title like it was in 2002?
The weird thing, but eventually that's why I thought,
that's what I thought.
Maybe they'll mold them together and we'll get a new belt there as well, and then we'll see what they do with it.
Well, they changed every single title recently.
I will say, if they do mold the two together, if they've gone for the world title, if they've taken the big gold belt, the WCW big gold belt, and done like a sort of a similar kind of style to that, then it would be interesting if they went and did something similar with the Winged Eagle belt, because people have been calling back for that one for years. And the thing is, it's weird because the one that doesn't really get talked about a lot is just the circle belt from the Attitude Era.
Yeah, the 2000.
Whereas, although it wasn't really around that long, like that belt was around for obviously one of the hottest periods in wrestling. Well, the hottest period in wrestling history.
It was from about
99 until 2001.
2001, 2002.
Technically two, yeah.
No, 2001 when. No, what?
Well, it was there in 2001 because Jericho unifies them in December.
And not long after Triple H wins it, then they do the Undisputed title like it was.
Yes, it's around April.
Yeah. I like that belt design. I like the
circle.
Yeah, I like all of them from what I've seen. The only one I didn't like was really the spinner, because it's just.
The spinner was different, wasn't it? But
it's good to have something different.
It was around for a long time.
Yeah, and
spinner belt.
It felt like it should have just been a Cena thing.
Yeah, I didn't mind when Edge did it.
That was funny.
Little novelty thing with the rated R bit, but
when it was a champion. I think that's the longest the belt did not change design. That was 2005 to about 2013.
It was a really long time.
When the Rock won it against Off Punk. And,
that was a really quick one because they changed the actual WWE logo.
Yeah,
but that also had champion at the bottom of it as well, didn't it?
That was weird.
So if you're going to pick one person to hitch your horse to hitch your wagon to, not your horse. You can if you want, if you're riding a horse. If you're going to pick one person to hitch your wagon to, who's going to be the first world champion of the new design.
Well, that's the thing.
Who are you going to go with?
Well, before I say, would it be a new lineage, or would it be like the US title where it has the NWA, WCW, then WWE run?
I'm under the impression that they're going under the same lineage as the World Heavyweight Championship.
So, like when Triple H got given it, and then it was like Batista, The Great Khali, all those names, Undertaker.
Who are you saying?
Seth.
Seth's a good pick. I don't want to see Cody with it. Not because I'm trying to rain on Cody's parade, but Cody should be, at the moment, the person to beat Roman. However, to make it really clear, once they reach 1,000 days, I don't think Roman's dropping it straight away. It's still going to take a while. He'll reach 1,000. And you got to try to imagine it that way, though, because I think that's when we're going to be in a really interesting booking period. Because once he's reached 1,000 days, like the fans that are really hating on this at the moment, they're going to go, "Oh, it's 1,000 days. Like now he can lose the title." But that means that every time then he keeps winning, it's like, well, surely now. So once he's reached it, he's genuinely in jeopardy of losing it. Because at the moment he is very much, and that makes it all the better that he's probably not going to be on TV so much, because we know he's not going to lose it before 1,000 days.
No, but
I just think he'll carry it for a bit longer than 1,000.
2,000.
That's a lot longer than 1,000.
I just, to me, as much as I keep saying it, I love this reign that Roman's on, and I love the fact that because the match has been brilliant. Some of the finishes haven't been brilliant, but the match has been great. But they just haven't built anyone.
Yeah.
The only person, really, and it's not... I can't see him doing it because he's such a good heel. Gunter.
Gunter would be great.
Because he's dominant as well as the IC title.
But that's what I mean. I think Gunter is very firmly in the IC position at the moment. And he's doing a really good job with it.
Once again, with the draft coming up, which I
do you think they'll swap?
I think the plan was they were going to swap the IC and US title, but
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I hope they don't do what they did with the women's titles. And the tag titles.
Well, there's no point, is there?
No.
I think they've learned their lesson from the Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch.
I mean, they can't with the tag titles because it's one, like the Universal one. Which does that
for now it is.
Which I was going to say,
it's going to depend what's going to happen at WrestleMania Backlash.
The tag titles going to be changing. New tag titles.
Their belts I'd like to see change because I don't really like those designs either. But hey ho. Why don't everybody listening and watching, why don't you let us know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube or if you are listening to us, wherever you get your podcast from. Some do have the option to leave comments.
But you had the option to leave us.
They do. Well, they have the option to leave us at any point.
Right.
Probably already have.
I know I would have.
But why don't you let us know in the comments what you thought about the new World Heavyweight Championship, the unveiling of it. Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I don't like it.
Who do you think? I don't like it. Who do you think is going to be the first champion? I will say I'll go with you on that for Seth at the moment, but a lot could happen between now and then.
Yeah.
But for now, I'll say Seth.
I mean, there's a lot more people I'd like to see like push to that level, like a Bronson Reed.
It's a ways off, I think.
Austin Theory.
It's a ways off.
But
it's a ways off. It's got to be someone who's already established.
Maybe Drew. Bron Breakker.
No, it's not going to be Bron Breakker.
Yeah, he might get called up.
It's still not going to be Bron. I'll tell you what it is going to be time for, though. It's time for a little bit of trivia.
Hey.
Little did you know? Oh, you didn't know?
Copyright. Can't do it.
So, the World Heavyweight Championship, the lineage of the world title, at least as we know it. So, again, going back to what we said with the 3-belt situation, it's kind of mad, sort of now that we could be looking at 3 belts, 3 world titles in WWE. But realistically, if you go all the way back, if you turn back the hands of time, Cher would be really, really proud. But if you could turn back time and you went to the beginning of a World Heavyweight Championship, what's the knowledge of it?
I keep thinking it's the NWA title, but there must be like other titles that were right in the early 1900s.
The early 1900s is where we begin. So, strap in for a quick trivia session. Might learn something. I did when I was researching it.
Okay.
So, it's the strange thing is with it is because we know about professional wrestling being what it is, right? It's the sports entertainment. It's not quite sport. It's not quite cinema. It's a mix of all these different things, right? It's a mixture of athleticism, comedy,
Mm-hmm.
Boxing is boxing, and you know what you're going to get. And in boxing, you get one world heavyweight champion.
But with different, you had like the WBA, WBO, in all those organisations.
Right, but you would have the recognised world champion.
I think back in the day it would have been world.
Yeah. Then this is where it's kind of like moved over time. But at least certainly in the early 1900s, so turning of the 20th century, professional wrestling is kind of like coming out of that kind of carnival. It's still sort of, it's not obviously where it is now, but it's still coming out of that kind of carnival setting.
Yeah.
And it was decided a world heavyweight champion is needed for professional wrestling. And so George Hackenschmidt, recognise the name?
I know the name.
George Hackenschmidt becomes the first world heavyweight champion in 1905. That's recognised as the first, I think largely recognised as the first world heavyweight champion in wrestling, professional wrestling. But NWA is correct in terms of when we start going into now the world title as we know it. So the NWA came about, really, it's the National Wrestling Alliance. So back in the territory days, obviously, you had people very firmly in each territory in the Americas and Canada. But you'd run the shows there, and everyone have their main guys, When the National Wrestling Alliance formed, it was decided that, we need one world champion.
So why are you holding up 3 fingers?
Oh, that's one. It's just these ones just didn't go.
It's
one world champion. So where we got the history from like a North American champion and like regional championships, kind of like your mid-card titles now, right?
Yeah.
Your Intercontinental, European that you said earlier. Those were kind of like the main belts in each territory because it's where they were, right?
Yeah.
But one world champion. The problem with having one world champion under the NWA was it was decided by a committee.
I've heard about a committee.
Yes. So Frank Gotch won the title from Hackenschmidt. Mm-hmm. This is 1908. That's how far back we've gone there. We go all the way. So once we reach in NWA territory, and there's quite a bit here with the AWA World Heavyweight Championship, so we've skipped a lot over that too. But the NWA, this is kind of... The world title as we know it in WWE now is the lineage from the NWA, technically, World Heavyweight Championship, because that goes into WCW and then into that. So, essentially, unfortunately, what happened was that you'd have the world champion and they'd go to like the other shows, so that essentially to like help out, right? So you raise the ticket prices, you raise the amount of tickets being sold, people that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
Now, when you're, say, in AWA and you've got an up-and-coming young talent called Vern Gagne...
Well, the fact that you said young and Vern Gagne doesn't sound right.
Well, at the time, he was a young, upcoming talent. He was the man in the territory.
He was the man in, like, the amateur ranks and all that, and, like, he was, like, really... Because was he AWA? When he ran it, didn't he?
What, Vern?
Yeah, Vern ran.
At one point, yeah. But Vern Gagne, AWA wanted the title on Vern, and it wasn't going to happen that way. Again, it's got to go through the NWA committee, right? So they decided to break away from the NWA, along with some other companies eventually, one of which was ran by Vince McMahon Sr., the WWF.
Yep.
So AWA breaks away, and I believe the story to it is that they did this little kind of like angle where Vern Gagne was calling out the world champion, which at the time then is Harley Race.
Another youngster at the time.
I believe it's Harley Race. I'll fact check that, but I believe it's Harley Race. But they're calling him out, and obviously Harley Race isn't going to be showing up at AWA because they're no longer part of the National Wrestling Alliance.
No.
So he's never going to come. So it kind of, in theory, strips him, or as de facto makes Vern Gagne champion. So I don't believe he actually had to win the match to become the AWA World Champion.
It's not like the IC title Pat Patterson situation where he won a tournament in Brazil that no one saw. I love that story. I think they did it again with another title, didn't they? I think there's another title in wrestling now.
There's a few times that sort of things happen.
Yeah.
This was televised, though, obviously in the region, in the area. So yeah, I think it was in the span of a week. I think he calls him out one week, and the next week, obviously, he's never going to show up. So Vern Gagne becomes AWA World Heavyweight Champion, and then at that point, then you start seeing world champions pop up in all these different promotions that aren't linked to NWA. Now, I believe that is how it all went down. The only thing I'm trying to look for was Luther's, and Harley Race. Yeah, I think Harley Race was the champion at the time.
It sounds about right. He was champion like 8 times, I think. 8-9 times as the World Heavyweight Champion. Who was it? Harley Race.
So this pulled up here. So Vern Gagne, who had been trying to become NWA World Heavyweight Champion for some time, defeated Carpentier in Omaha, Nebraska in 1958. It was recognised as a title change by those NWA affiliate promotions that would later evolve into American Wrestling Association, the AWA. That's in 1960. So the disputed version of the NWA World Heavyweight title was later known as the World Heavyweight Championship, the Omaha version. Title was unified with the AWA World Championship on September 7th, 1963. So the championship that they're talking about there, I think that's where this split happens with them.
All right.
But yeah, we should probably... I mean, it would be interesting to do maybe like a whole proper video on this, because there's not an awful lot of video content out there for like the history of a professional wrestling world heavyweight champion, because it starts really with Hackenschmidt.
Yeah,
and then it kind of just goes like that.
It's hard to like do. It's kind of like, it feels like the Samoan dynasty, where it's like you got so many people this way, you got so many people that way. But I know there's a lot. I know for certain there's a lot of NWA title changes that are not recognised because I don't think it was. I think like the territory didn't want the certain people to be champion and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of
they're bound to happen
because it happened with the WWE title.
Yeah,
and like I think even like Bruno's reign is not as long as it should be. I think he lost it, but it's not recognised.
But that happened even through like Ric Flair.
Yeah,
I mean, because Ric Flair will tell you himself, but he's actually technically like a 21-time world champion, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's something like that.
I think also there was a point where the NWA title could change hands on disqualification.
Oh,
I might be wrong on that one. I know it has happened. I know there has been times when the title has changed hands.
Different time. But yeah, I think with a bit more research into it, I like wrestling history, but I've never really gone sort of that far back for the most part, really.
I know there was a WWE documentary. I think it's on the network as well about the World Heavyweight title, which could help.
Is it? Oh, okay. When was that made?
Probably about 15 years ago.
Mm.
I don't know how far they go into it because obviously it's WWE and they wouldn't go too much into actual wrestling history. Because I remember there's a bit in it where I want to say it's like Lou Fairs or someone like said was like, I was champion for a long, long time and I was in a 2 out of 3 falls match and I was really tired being a champion, so I forgot it was 2 out of 3 falls.
Lou Fairs.
It might have been Lou Fairs. It might have been like another one of those legends of wrestling. I just can't remember the name of them in a minute, but because the NWA Championship has got a lot of like these really good names, like people like Terry Funk was champion, Dory Funk.
I like the fact that the NWA title just keeps morphing into a different championship, and then it comes back. And that's kind of what we're seeing with this new world title in WWE, because the NWA title had morphed into the WCW world title.
Because they were still in partners with them, and then
at the time,
and then when they split, it would become the big gold belt as the World Heavyweight title.
But then we'd see the NWA title then come back with probably more prevalence for TNA, really. I'd say.
And then when they split with that, it felt like it disappeared for a while. But then you always hear people like Adam Pearce, who's WWE official, is like a 4-time champion NWA. Rob Conway won the World Heavyweight title.
Some of the names for NWA champion now is genuinely surprising.
And it still blows my mind that Matt Cardona's won the title longer than Dusty Rhodes did.
That is one of the strangest facts.
And our truth.
And even Brodus Clay.
Yeah, I was going to say
whatever his name.
Titus.
Something Titus or Titus something.
Tyrus,
that's it.
It's not like that, isn't it?
It's Tyrus.
It's not Titus O'Neil.
No, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if this has already happened, but I see Chris Masters was looking at at potentially being the new challenger.
It could do.
And be going for it. Masters is. I really like Chris Masters.
Yeah, considering he could have been world champion.
Well, maybe he will be one of the many world champions, because there certainly are a lot of them, and we've got a new one in WWE. Whether you like it or you love it.
Like it or love it.
Like it or love it, yeah. We don't deal with negativity. No one hates it.
No.
Whether you like it, you love it, maybe you do hate it.
That just made me think of the British Bulldog. He's going to win it, whether he likes to or not.
Oh, God. Maybe Roman will win it, whether he wants to or not.
He will.
But why don't you let us know whatever your thoughts may be. And any other interesting facts about world champions. You can also pop down in the comments some of the most surprising names for a world champion that you've ever seen.
Any company. It don't have to be like World Heavyweight Champion, NWA Champion, WWE
It's probably going to be mainly the bigger ones, right? I mean, like surprising world champions. Dolph Ziggler is a surprising world champion. For people that are probably only just getting into wrestling now.
The first one that comes in my head for surprise is Jinder Mahal.
Yeah. Yeah?
And that's still crazy to think that happened. And it was a long reign, really, if you think about it.
It was a very long reign. A very long reign. But yeah, do let us know. We're going to end today's show with a little game. It's basically FMK.
Yeah, we did this last episode, we did. And
we say last episode, we did do this last episode. It's also worth mentioning this is the second time we tried to record this one.
Yeah.
Because we had an accident last time where the sound didn't record, and that is quite important for an audio presentation.
And hopefully, because we haven't looked back at this, that audio is actually working.
Well, if not, it's just our mouths moving for 40-odd minutes so far. But yeah, FMK. Can't say all the words on here because it's YouTube and we have guidelines to consider. However, it kind of works... What? It kind of works the same way. I'm going to give Ash 3 different matches in wrestling history. He has to pick one that he will watch forever. He picks one that he can only ever watch once, but it is live. And then he has to pick one that he can never see again. Ash, your 3 choices are as followed. You have, as you already mentioned it, but Bret the Hitman Hart versus the British Bulldog at SummerSlam 92. I did that last time as well.
I was going to say you did that last time.
I'm stuck in the in 2023. So Bret versus Bulldog, SummerSlam 92. Mm-hmm. You get Rock Austin, Mania 19, and you're going to get Sheamus versus Gunter.
Oh come on, we did that.
Last time, but you're going to get Sheamus versus Gunter at Clash at the Castle. Those are your 3. You can pick one, whether you want to or not.
Forever, Bret and Bulldog.
Okay.
See it live, Gunter, Sheamus, because I did. And even though
because you already did.
Because I already did.
Well, so you just go do it again?
Yeah, I'd love to do it again.
And then you'd never ever see...
It's as much as I love Mania 19, and I do love that match, it's not the same as the 17.
You've always told me that 19 was better than 17.
19 is better than 17, but I kind of watching it back 17. I kind of like the McMahon and Austin, even though it did kind of ruin Austin for a bit.
Controversial. I'll give you mine.
Go on.
I think the one I'd watch forever would be... It's tricky because I would want to be there live for it, but if I had to watch, I'm only going to get to watch one forever, so it'll be Bret and Bulldog. Mm-hmm. The one I'd watch live would be Rock and Austin, and then never see Sheamus and Gunter again. But for the reverse reason, because I already saw it live, so I've already had that experience.
But you'll never see it. You'll never see it though.
Ever again? No, but I would remember seeing it.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think smart. But that's about all for today's episode. So if you've enjoyed... What?
I was going to say, do I get a choice?
No, absolutely not. You can do the next one.
All right.
You can let us know down below what you would have picked for those 3. Ash, you can do one if you want to.
All right.
Go on then.
Okay. I'll do this one. The 3 Triple H Undertaker matches at Mania.
Oh,
17,
that's
27, 28.
One. Yeah, okay. Well, the one I'd watch forever would be... the one I would watch forever would be... I'm going to say 17.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
No, you said it.
That's
you can't
not
go,
how
you can't
it
go back. You
works.
can't go back. You can't go back.
Well, I am. So the one I'd watch forever would be the Hell in a Cell, for the reason being that kind of felt like that was Undertaker's like proper ending.
Well, the CM Punk was good, but I know what you mean.
But that was but that just it felt right, didn't it? So that's the one I'd watch forever. The one I would watch live would be Mania 17, and then the one I'd never watch again would be 27. Although that was really good.
Yeah, it was not the greatest Mania.
It was probably one of the best matches on that Mania. Between that and Punk and
Punk and Orton was good.
But yeah.
Actually, Ray and
Cody.
Cody was good.
That was good. Yeah, that's probably the three
I
best.
think I would say the same thing, but...
You're going to go the same?
I would say the same. It's only because...
Nice.
27 is, like I say, 27 is good, but it's not... 28 is just amazing. And 17, just for that crowd brought it in itself, would be fun to be witnessing it.
That's true.
Where Mike Chioda's dead for like 10 minutes.
He's gone. Was it Mike Chioda?
Yeah, it's Mike Chioda. I think he's down... I think it was 10 minutes and 10 seconds. I think someone actually put it up like somewhere that's like... Yeah, Mike Chioda gets elbow drops in the back of the head and he's down for the... Imagine him in the last man standing. It'd be done like 1,000 times.
Yeah. And that's the show. So thank you, everybody. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, you can leave us how many stars?
5.
5 star, the full Dave. And if you are listening, watching on YouTube, do make sure to like, subscribe, leave the comments, do the stuff for the algorithm. You can stroke Ashley's head.
Why?
Why not? Why? That's gimmick infringement, can't do it. But we really appreciate having you. So wherever you are in the world, make sure you are having a great day. Stay safe, look after each other, and we will catch you again very soon.
Yes, and hopefully we'll get some unboxing done.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
And Starcade.
See you later.
Please work audio.